Good day, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. I'm Anna Uspinskaya. I'm a pianist. I'm joining you from Washington, D.C. suburb, and I'll be hosting the program for you today. Today's program is about bringing on stages and on virtual stages musicians from Stockner's Occupational Octaves program. And we are very honored to have Lee join us today, and we'll have a lot of very interesting discussions where Lee will be sharing his mission, his vision, and his absolutely incredible work. And as always, we are live every day at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, and we are here connecting musicians and audiences in real-time performances and music news discussions from around the globe. Throughout the season, we host dozens and dozens of events aimed at helping musicians get forward with their own goals. For some people, the next step might be to perform at the prestigious venue like a Carnegie Hall, or to perform with the orchestra in various countries, or try performing on a virtual stage and see if that's something they can add to their performance and season. Or maybe they are looking to win the scholarship to attend a masterclass or summer program, and so on. We provide all these with the help of many supporters and organizations from around the world, which provide funds, help, time, and support to the musicians. Let's take a quick look of the overview of the season. As you can see, it's a wealth of opportunities to further a musician's career, study, and to win many awards. For every one of these events, we also work very hard at providing environment and opportunities for musicians of all walks of life. What you see on the screen is an incredible collection of wonderful companies and organizations from around the world, which are led by really inspiring people who joined our efforts and providing a lot of additional opportunities to everyone who is involved in the season. Get involved. And we stream on every major platform, video and social platform, and we are partnering with many additional platforms, educational and concert platforms. We are on all of these. Just Google our name, Virtual Concert Halls, or Progressive Musicians, or Sound Espressiva, and you can join our programs. Please comment, please be involved, be part of this movement towards furthering the arts and life. There are many season awards, again provided by companies from every part of the world, and these are opportunities for scholarships, cash awards, opportunities to record albums and get them published, to attend masterclasses, programs, to get on a tour, to receive educational materials, support, to perform at the Carnegie Hall, and so forth and so on. How to become eligible to be entered into the pool of potential winners for those auditions, for those awards, words. Again, like I said, get involved. Get on with us, join our movement, join our programs, apply for one of many, many auditions and competitions and seminars, masterclasses, and other events. Please visit our websites. Ours and our partners' websites are all full of those events, and all the information is there, dates, deadlines, instructions how to apply, how to get involved in other forms, how to get on our show, how to be a guest and present your own project, your own work. And our guests on these daily live shows are open to responding to your comments. Please comment, please connect, develop the relationships, develop more connection. This will bring more opportunities to you as well. And today I want to introduce our wonderful guest and bring on this virtual stage on screen Lee Stockner. He's a founder of Occupational Octaves Piano Method in school, and he's an incredible pioneer of transformational approach to learning a music instrument. A very brief introduction about Lee. He is the creator of new user-friendly language of music, which he has parlayed into a new world of choice for people who want to learn the piano. As the president of Adaptive Learning for the World Piano Teachers Association and the author of Occupational Octaves Piano, Lee's methods are used by piano teachers, music therapists, occupational therapists, recreational therapists, special educators, and other related professionals around the world. After teaching hundreds of students with autism in his private practice and then training dozens of other professionals, Lee authored Classical Piano as a Pathway to Flow States for Learners with Disabilities. It was published in 2020 by Traditional Medicine Research. This paper lays out a replicable system to use the complex works of Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, and other classical composers to experience a state of flow or Zen state or being in the zone. This is important because when done so correctly, the flow state leads to physical benefits and in addition to one's mental health toolkit. Results, of which there are too many to list, include positive attributes such as the relaxing sensation of lowering of heart variability or the exciting sensation of a rise of dopamine. With a pure focus on maximizing piano playing dreams for people with varying disabilities and variety of abilities, Lee has dedicated his life to the power of music on both clinical and spiritual levels. He has created the world of occupation octaves from scratch, having invented the method, translated each piece and song, written and published every book. He designed how professionals can reach clinical goals at the piano. He published medical research. He had been the feature of news stories and documentaries and much more. Lee's approach to students combines empathy with tough love. Empathy helps him understand people's struggles and how they learn, while tough love sees more in a student than they might see in themselves in the moment and provides a path towards greater goals. Lee is a person who must know that if you spend your time and energy on his products or program, you will get maximal result if you trust in the process. So let's get Lee on stage and get on the process with the author himself. Lee, it's a great pleasure and honor to have you with us today. Welcome.
Hello, Anna. Thank you very, very much for having me today. I'm very grateful for that introduction.
Wonderful. I can't wait to ask you a tough question or another question and a lot of questions. First of all, I'm really interested to learn from you what brought you to this work. Was there a particular event or something which was like an initial push moment or initial spark of motivation to start this research? Because I can understand this research is endless and is probably consuming your life. I can imagine there's got to be this incredible source of motivation. Can you please share?
Well, the answer is there are many different sources of motivation, including my own personal story. I'm diagnosed attention deficit, and it's something that I like to say that I've overcome. I even like to say it's something that I wish I was never told, because I used it as so many excuses in my life to not really put my full force and my full energy and my full effort and my full passion into something. And it wasn't until music and then music education and then special needs music education that I really, really found myself. And I went from somebody with attention deficit who had, a bit of a nihilistic approach to things, who didn't really try too hard, who ended up dropping out of college, to go on and be somebody that published papers in medical research journals and to be empowering professionals and to every now and then teach at college classes and whatnot. The entire process has been amazing, but it all started as a young man who was a bit apathetic with ADHD, who has a talent for the piano, and a great, great teacher who taught him how to teach by the time he was 15 years old. And that was really where my stability came from as a person and as a professional, very, very early on at 15 years old. So I always had a passion for both the special education side of things because I needed some help myself, and for the musical side of things. In the year, I believe it was 2006, I was working at the local music store that I grew up taking some guitar lessons in, and a woman came down with her son with autism. And I had never encountered any experiences with anybody on the autism spectrum before. And the woman asked my then boss, "Do you have anybody here that works with individuals with special needs?" He said, "No, we don't have anybody specific, but I have the feeling that if there's anybody that could do it, it's going to be Lee." So I met with the family, we talked, we connected pretty quickly, and we just liked each other right away. So his movements and his mannerisms were not typical that you would see, and some of his questions were very, I'd say, out there. They were based on things that I wasn't personally observing, which was very, very interesting. And then I got to have an example of this type of moment in our very, very first lesson together. I started to teach him and I started to explain a few things. And at one point, I tried to point his attention toward the C key. But when I said, "Here's the C key," he looked at my pockets because your keys are in your pockets.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
very interesting perspective. Yeah.
Sure.
So you
And
learn from these students things you wouldn't even think of, right?
sometimes it's humorous things like that. Other times it's other circumstances. For example, the mom also told me, she said, "Do you remember how you felt on 9/11?" I said, "Of course." And she said, "Well, it didn't matter to him at all. It was completely unconnected, disconnected from his life and just not anywhere in his brain and his conscious. It just wasn't a thing for him. However, if he hears a baby crying, he will react with the same level of panic as a New Yorker on 9/11. And then I realized, whoa, I'm in a completely different world here, and I'm going to have to adapt myself completely to this young man's needs and personality traits if I'm going to connect with him. Because if I can't connect with him, how is he going to learn with me? How is he going to trust me?" So that young man, his name is Chase, he is still a student today, well over 10 years later, and he's still playing every single week and doing a wonderful, wonderful job as a student. But that day that Chase and his mom, Deb, came down to the music store that I was teaching at really changed my life. She told me that day that I was a natural to work in the field of special education. And as I was mentioning before, I was a bit of an apathetic, lost soul at that stage in my life. And I had a calling. I had a calling at that moment. So I went and I started applying at different schools for individuals with autism. And I got a job at a school and I started to learn how people help empower students that have different struggles and have different sets of capabilities. And I learned an absolute ton there that was then later brought into my teaching career as a typical piano teacher and then later as a special needs piano teacher. One of the things that I was able to bring over was the day that I had to help a student who has very, very high support needs to brush his teeth. And we do a lot of data collection when working with our students because we need to know exactly what is going on so that we know where things are stable and where things need strengthening. So I had to take this young man and I had to help him brush his teeth. How many steps do you think there are involved in brushing your teeth that you could possibly get wrong?
Oh,
How about
it's a very
walking?
difficult question because for me it's like a flow. It's
How
not
about
something separated into steps. Yeah.
how about walking into the right room?
Oh, and
How about
missing.
how about no? How about you just your goal is to brush your teeth and you stand up and somebody says go brush your teeth and you walk into the office instead. That's one of the
You
steps
know,
of
honestly,
brushing your
I've
teeth
done
correctly.
that.
I'll help you to find a toothbrush in the office. Nonetheless, it gave me the ability to take large activities like brushing your teeth and break it up into very, very small pieces to see exactly where something is going wrong. Because if somebody is walking into the wrong room, but they are perfectly capable of putting the toothpaste on the toothbrush and brushing their teeth, then we know exactly what step we need to fix in order to make everything work for our end
Exactly.
goal. And I was able to take that approach to my teaching, and I found myself teaching in the mornings at the School for Students on the Autism Spectrum, and then teaching my lessons in the afternoon.
And I wanted to mention that you have you shared with us this incredible video in Brooklyn, where I think your method was introduced to just
A
random people,
stranger.
right?
Yes.
Strangers.
So,
Yeah,
so if you don't
that
mind,
is interesting. I'd like to have it seen by our audience, if you don't mind.
So, if you don't mind, I'll preface it first before you
Oh,
go with that.
please.
So, the program that I created, I originally created for the students on the autism spectrum who I was working with at the school that I was at, with the families that I knew. But then it grew into so much more because as a piano teacher, I kept piano technique as part of this program and part of this process. So, while I created something originally designed for individuals with certain challenges, I actually found that this is a wonderful, wonderful program for anybody to use, especially if you struggle to read and succeed with traditional music notes. So one day I was at a party and somebody was asking me about it, and I was able to take out a keyboard on the spot and show them.
Let's see that. That's incredible.
I'm going to play the first page of Fiorelli's for you,
Okay.
and then in 5 minutes,
Okay.
you're going to play the exact same thing with every single finger, every single note, and every single beat that I just did. You ready? You believe me that you're going to do that?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
But I am.
All right, put that book over here, and you're gonna put these close to that, and you're gonna put these rings on your fingers just like this.
Okay.
See that setup?
Yeah, but
Exactly
it's
the
even
same.
hotter upstairs, but I did get.
Here's the way it works. See like an orange with a blue star? See you have an orange finger right there? See it with a blue star? Okay, push that down. Now, see this D has a blue star and that black dot? The black dot means it's either a black note next to the D.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
Does he need it? Where is
now these are going to go together. Your other finger also.
Oh, he's got
A with a red square
magnet.
using your purple finger.
Red square.
You got the timer going?
yes.
See,
And
that's a
so
little
bottom
E.
line.
Starting now?
Starting now.
Yep.
Total
Okay.
timing.
All right, so we were like 30 seconds.
It was timing the whole time.
All right, now you see this is, this is pink, but look, there's no star on top of it. So find the C without a star on top of it. Uh-huh. Good. Go ahead to the next one, right there. Mm-hmm.
What is the little A?
Orange, little, you just look for it. Uh-huh. Together. E with a red square, using your purple finger.
E with the red square.
Yep, together. These two together.
Or what is?
Purple and purple. Good. Push them right down. You're right.
But what is this one?
Oh, that just means to hold on to it for an extra focus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Yep, and then using the same hand, see it staying on the bottom. That's a little G. Now, with a black dot, use the black key right by it. Good. Big G. Yep. Exactly. Orange. Good.
C with the blues.
And yep, you got it right there. Don't even move. Don't move. You're right there together though. These two together. On top and bottom.
Oh, okay.
Just go ahead back.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the.
Perfect.
When did you learn the piano?
5
Right
minutes
now.
ago.
Ah.
And then.
He's got this color-coded system.
And a red A.
This is no teacher book he made for kids.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, will
He's
you?
on
That is really cool.
Will you find one of those? Maybe the copper Please start. Please start. Don't move. You're right where you need to be. We'll do that. You're just here. Line. Take your time. Line up this one. Line up this one.
How's that moving? So, dude, you coming? No,
Yeah,
5 years.
Yep.
Really? Yeah,
Green E. There. Good.
Want to come back and have a beer?
Orange.
Yeah,
little
man.
A's there.
Yeah, you guys just doing
Uh-huh.
the thing, huh? Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Get these two
I'm going to see
together.
Nice Guys with
Oh, cool.
people.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
get back. Let me know.
No, you didn't. You were perfect. You were perfect. Now the next one. Yep, exactly. Little lowercase g.
He's
Yep.
supposed to be
Yep,
San Francisco.
exactly. Pink E, no star.
He's he was on Ford model San Francisco, and then now he's on.
Oh, that's purple.
I felt bad. That's too good, right?
Through here.
Where are we on the timer?
3 minutes,
3 and a half.
Can you try one more time?
From this.
Yeah.
From this start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a black dot. Use your purple finger. You got it. You got it. You right there.
What is it? This hand? How do you know which hand?
Top is right, bottom is left. Now up to your right hand. Orange, little D. Good. No black dot on it. Green little E. Good. Okay. Thanks. Take over a little bit. Orange finger. Yep.
Love it.
Pink.
That's
Blue.
cool.
Give yourself a second. E. Green little E over here. Pink. Good. Don't move. Orange little A.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll bring the lines down first.
Together. Red. Good. Green is little G. Little G. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
That makes sense to me because I want
Take
to.
your time. Yep. Together over here. No black dot. Uh-huh. Green little E. All right. That's bad. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Can I try?
Is that still
That's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you
Amazing.
very, very much.
It
Thank
takes a
you
normal
so much.
person a few years to learn to sight read this, and
Right.
that's a stranger right there on the street. And look at the joy in her face. Oh my gosh, I can actually play it.
Absolutely. She had a little bit of the flow state going on there for a second. Once she was able to get a little pattern going, you could see things were starting to come together a little bit, and she got to the end, like you were saying, and she was so proud of herself, which that's part of the goal.
Absolutely. And, well, your work has been, of course, widely accepted by so many people. I'm floored. I'm watching this, people coming over the hurdle of reading music and like momentarily like this. And, of course, the students and the parents and the teachers are all really flocking to you to get the source of that instruction. And this is applicable to everyone. And rightfully, you're even acknowledged by a lot of media. So, but I want us to walk through a few samples of how all that comes together. And if we can see a little sample demo where you're showing a little bit, and then I'll ask you to comment on that. How's that?
Sure thing. Please do. Go for it.
That's amazing.
Hey,
So, yeah, if you can please comment, we want to really poke into the secrets of your method.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a player is looking at a large set of colored letters, and each color corresponds to the colored ring on the finger, and each letter corresponds to the letter that is drawn on the piano. This way, everybody, no matter where you are in the song, always knows exactly which note to push down and which finger to use. The fingers and the notes are two of the three main instructions of music, and the third is the beats, knowing when to hold and knowing when to move forward. And there's basically a system of arrows that proportionately show you exactly how long to hold each note for. There's no need to worry about quarter notes, half notes, dotted half notes, and whole notes. There's no reason to worry about black and white symbols in lines and spaces. And you could simply just look at a very simple set of colored letters in rhythmically designed boxes and do what you saw Mia do in the video. The second video is a video of our sampler pack, which is available for anybody to download for free on the website occupationaloctaves.com. And you could use this yourself. We'll also mail you a free set of rings in the continental US. And you could try this program out for yourself. It comes with instructions. And if you like it, there is a full curriculum for you to use.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Yeah, I like those color rings because, especially for young kids, I mean, young kids all have struggled with the lines and spaces and movement of the notes, and they're so physical. It's really important for them to be able to take the music off the page and translate it into physical movements around the keyboard. That's why kids prefer not to, sight read or something, but to memorize right away.
True.
So that they can see where they can go on the keyboard. And I don't blame them. If I'm playing something complicated enough where I have to jump all over the keyboard, I'm not going to look at the music. I'm going to look where I'm going.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're going to look at the spot on the piano that you're about to play. That's where our eyes tend to go. We actually don't look at the note we are playing. We look at the spot that we are going to play right before we actually strike a key.
Yeah, because we have to aim, right?
Right. So, yeah. And what you bring up is actually part of what influenced me to write the paper that I published. When I wrote Classical Piano as a Pathway to Flow States for Learners with Disabilities, it was influenced by another paper that was written which discussed the psychophysiological state of people who are in a flow state at the piano. And that word, psychophysiological, is one of the words that have stuck out to me the most throughout this entire process. The piano is not a system for the mind or the fingers. It is a system for both. And furthermore, it's a system of regulation for the entire body. So I've gotten to a point where my students are able to play so well using my program because it is so user-friendly that I'm actually able to help them concentrate on other things like posture and the purpose behind posture, which is not only to be sitting up straight and strengthen your back, but also to be able to breathe better. And when you could breathe better, you could process better. And when you could process better, you could play better. So we're able to look at everything from a very, very holistic viewpoint without having to worry, did this student miss over here that this note was on the second space instead of the third space?
Right. And let's hear from some of the parents who actually walked the walk together with Lee.
I completely agree. I feel like part of the reason he has been able to pick up so quickly is because of the, non-traditional notes. With him, everything and a lot of his focus depends on motivation. And once he's motivated to do something, he's hooked. You've got him. But that is the challenging part with Shane. And so a lot of the things that we do just, in everyday life with him is how can we make him feel successful in what he's doing? Because then he's going to be motivated. And I feel like that's been a big piece with piano is that he has been able to feel successful early on because of the notation. And so he got hooked and it's just kind of fed upon itself. As you give him harder and harder songs and he's able to do them, it just continues to build his enthusiasm for it. So I think it's been a big part of it.
And what a relief for parents to know that someone is taking their kid step by step to a really success and to real growth. That's a great gift, Lee, you're providing to families.
It feels great every time, but I try not to I try to just keep on moving forward and just making more material for the kids to play.
Well, you're a mover and shaker. You're a
I'm
moving
a
forward,
mover
of
and
course.
shaker. Yes, well said.
And we have some samples of your students' successes. Like, try teaching a young student to play scale. Now, here's Jason playing D major scale under tutelage of Lee.
Got it.
Yeah, good job, kid. Good job. Good.
Jason, you really did that one nicely.
Okay, the video fooled me. It said D major, but it's D minor.
That was a D minor.
Incredible. This young man is able to play correct fingering. Every pianist and every piano teacher will tell you what a big hurdle to overcome, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are people that say to me all the time, my son's taking lessons or my daughter's taking lessons, and everything is going really well, except the teacher can't get them to use the right fingers. And I sit back and, well, that's like saying I know how to drive a car, but I don't know how to use the steering wheel.
Exactly.
Telling me you know how to read the music, but you don't know how to read the fingers. That's not a thing. And I understand it is a thing to identify the notes and to be able to identify the structure and the beats. Yes, it's a very, very a special thing for people to learn. But when you get into something like this, you get into it for full functionality, like a car. You don't buy a car to leave it in the driveway and not use and not have directions.
Yeah, and
that's how I
absolutely.
feel about piano playing.
Yeah, and the fingering is the, I mean, we play with fingers, so there's got to be proper fingering and there's got to be less painful way to learn it than we all had to go through.
Yep, absolutely.
And then the
Absolutely.
sight reading, another pressure point. And we have a sample of one of your students sight reading Chopin using your method. Let's watch that. Wow, that's sight reading.
That's sight reading.
Incredible.
That is sight reading. And if there was, although I have many, many purposes bringing occupational octaves to the table, I think my number one purpose in the world of music education itself is to promote more and more and more sight reading. Because sight reading is really, really where the proof is in the pudding. There are many, many teachers out there who are saying things like their students, some with special needs, some without, it doesn't matter, that their students are able to read music. And then something happens. Somebody hands them a piece of music and they open it up and they have maybe 50% of an idea of what they're actually looking at. And they're not able to actually use it. They're not able to be fully functional with it. Additionally, being in the world of special needs music education as I am, there are a lot of wonderful people who really, really want to help and have some solutions that may work for one person, may work for two people, and then they're going out there and then they're saying you could try this out with your students. They say things like all students on the autism spectrum or all students with special needs can learn how to read traditional music notation. And unfortunately, that is not true. And it's been a really big problem in my field. So the reason why I bring sight reading to the table and I promote it as something that everybody should use, the second that your teacher says that your student is reading music, I think you really need to try out sight reading, because many, many times you will find that a student actually does not know what they're looking at exactly. And like I said, you need to know every part of this, like driving a car. If anybody ever wanted to drive a car but they didn't know how to use any part of it, that's a car accident.
Absolutely.
And we don't want that equivalent in the world of music education. So
Well,
what
and
I
also,
promote is sight reading.
what a great joy for someone to know that they are not only able to play particular songs on the keyboard, that they are actually able to play any music because they have the tool to, I mean, even download their favorite newly composed piece or a tune from the movie or a game, and to be able to reproduce it on the piano because they understand how to read notation.
Well,
Giving that independence on so many levels is, in a way, a purpose of teaching altogether, so that your students are able to do it on their own.
Even though I'm only 41, I mean, we should all always be thinking about our mortality, but at 41, I don't need to, it doesn't need to be a primary topic in my life. However, once this all came together, it started to be something where this all has to get done and be out there, and people have to be empowered before you leave this earth, because it doesn't need to be done with the traditional music notes, and people could have so much more success if they either use an alternative language, which is adaptive, or maybe even just start with this language before you move into the traditional music notes, because that'll give you a better shot at understanding the very confusing and complex world of those black and white symbols.
Yeah, so true. And the power of your research and your dedication to the field and to the topic is acknowledged by many and our colleagues in big media. Let's see the interview you've given to the Fox.
Now, let me tell you about this story. One young man living with autism isn't letting the disorder keep him from doing what he really, truly loves. Despite having to deal with many daily difficulties, a new lesson approach has made learning to play the piano easy and enjoyable. Jody Goldberg tells us more.
Jake Veloci feels most confident when he's playing piano.
Let's put your rings on.
The 23-year-old has autism.
What's next? Yeah, it's tough to say. Wait, it's called tarantella.
But when it comes to music, you'd never even know. He's learning a different way using Occupational Octaves Piano. Program creator and teacher Lee Stockner translates the same notes found in traditional music, using a user-friendly color-coded language and special rings.
The red matches to the color ring that the student is wearing, and the C matches to a labeled keyboard. Yes. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You ready to try?
Ready to try.
And each time he tries, his mom Judy watches and gets emotional.
It took him years to learn how to tie his shoes, yet he can sit down at a piano, play both hands, use the pedal. He's so focused when he's playing music. That's a difficulty for him.
The Occupational Octaves Piano method is being taught in countries as far as Bahrain. Locally, Lee hopes to introduce it to veterans to help what he calls the interrupted mind.
I want to help people alleviate their minds through music.
When I play the piano, I feel happy and so proud.
Jake has every reason to feel this way.
On it, man. Too good, too good.
In Melville, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Bravo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Yeah.
And you've worked with hundreds and hundreds of kids and variety of course, autism spectrum. And can you maybe walk us through how you interact with the families, with the students, with the parents, and all the support groups involved in that education? And maybe we can watch a bit of the wonderful documentary which was created about one of your students, I understand, by one of the filmmakers and the family members of that family. And maybe you can, as we watch, you can maybe comment on the journey which people take, which you take people on alongside with your music and piano approach.
I'd be glad to. So one of the first things in this field is that you have to be somebody who can create an environment where somebody is very comfortable, even though there may be a lot of different things in life that they are uncomfortable with. And that tends to be pretty standard in the world of autism. There's a lot of discomfort physically, there's a lot of discomfort mentally. So I like to come in and be a very calming source for everybody, the kids and the families. I'm not going to react, and I'm not going to be upset with things. Everything is just kind of cool and chilled out when I'm around. And half of the reason why I'm able to do that and be like that with the students and the families is because I know that once those rings go on the fingers, we've got things under control. We have the right notes, we have the right fingers, we have the right beats. And when that happens and somebody's able to play, you don't have problems, you don't have issues. Everybody just goes and plays like everybody would do in every piano lesson if they were fully grasping the traditional music notes that they may be reading, and also able to have a teacher that is able to bring out the psychophysiological side, matching up your mind with your body, basically, which is something that is not easy for a lot of individuals that walk this earth, let alone individuals on the autism spectrum. So being able to provide that sort of environment and that sort of plan is something that was able to put a lot of families at ease. And then to go in there and just be able to turn page after page. On day one, you're hearing Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle Twinkle, and that's beyond your imagination in the first place.
Absolutely.
Then you skip ahead a few weeks. If you're a student that does really well with it and you're all of a sudden in book 3, you're starting to hear some scales. You're starting to hear harder versions of songs that were written in book 1, and you're starting to also have a little autonomy going on. You're letting your fingers go and do their thing, and they're landing in the right spot and making music, and you hear it. It's clear as day. You could hear mistakes, and you could be displeasured with them and look to fix it, just like you and I do when we're playing. So what ended up coming together is a lot of things that feel very, what we call mainstream. Things that feel very regular for a piano lesson. Scales, chords, sharps and flats, mom and dad watching, recitals. I basically wanted to recreate the life that my teacher created for me with the students that I was able to help.
That's incredible. Yep, I can see how the students are in that documentary which was created. They're smiling. They're connected with you. They're connected with themselves. They're connected with the music they're making, with the page they're looking at. It's all completely mainstream, just like you said. And they're really, really engaged. They're occupied. They really understand. Okay, that's the next step I have to take. This is the key I need to push. This is what it sounds like. There's a complete, direct, uninterrupted flow of connection. That's incredible.
One thing I love, and thank you for that, one thing I love is when I get a teacher that just purchased my books, nobody that I've ever met, they're out there doing their thing as a teacher, and I get a note from them. And I've gotten similar notes, but there's one stuck out at me, that there's one student, a 12-year-old boy, takes putting those rings on his fingers so seriously. And when I imagine him doing it, I imagine myself sitting down to practice and monitoring my posture, thinking about everything that I was going to do and preparing my hands and how seriously I took that. And then the idea that this young man was having that same moment as I was having with the rings is incredibly, incredibly special, especially as somebody who struggled with his own education and needed people out there to help me get through my own schooling. I'm very, very proud that somebody is able to take it within
and
their
we
own
are
grasp and be
watching
serious.
this is a young student of yours, right? This is your student with the artistic needs, and he's performing in front of the big audience. Look at that.
So that is Brendan, and I find myself in a very odd corner of a professional life, and here's why. Brendan, although mostly nonverbal, and he has very high support needs, I think he's actually a significantly more talented musician than I am. It's some unbelievable stuff to see. He learns a pattern and he's able to transpose it into different keys instantly in his mind and get it out of his fingers perfectly. He's able to sight read with unbelievable ease, and he's incredible. And his entire musical life was brought to fruition through Occupational Octaves itself, because if we had to go through the process of teaching him to read traditional music notes before we were able to use it in a way where he gets to express himself, we might have lost his attention after 2 lessons. And we didn't. We've had his attention for years and years and years, and so much came out of it. But on the flip side of this is the students that are your more average student. As I was saying, Brendan is extraordinarily talented as a musician. It's just simply in his blood and in his veins. However, other students are not as gifted and have to work a bit harder. And those students are also performing incredibly, incredibly well with occupational octaves. Their sight reading may take a little bit more time, just like every teacher has different students that take different, that are at different levels of ability and success. But Brendan is both an individual with very high support needs and an extremely talented musician. It's really a trip to be around. But at the same time, to see students that might not have the same natural talent develop their skills over time and develop that same muscle memory, and then start to make observations about hearing a pattern that they heard in minuet in G in a different song that's written in G major later on, that is just as pleasurable. And my big point in this is that this is not a program designed for extreme natural talent. And very frequently in my world of special needs music education, what happens is a teacher is featured because they have an incredibly talented student. And they make it seem as though, if you remember Cody Lee, who was on American Idol, I believe, he was the singer with autism, and I think he was blind as well, that did an incredible performance. That performance was not about music education. That performance was about a wonderful, pure natural talent that happened to coincide with challenges. Occupational octaves is not about that. Occupational octaves is saying, if you could match colors and letters, we could bring you step by step through the process, and you could learn to play. And if you stay dedicated to it, your fingers will develop the muscle memory. Your eyes will develop the pattern recognition. Your body will calm at the piano. You will play longer songs. You will play harder songs. And you will have the opportunity to still be playing in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and beyond. So as much as I love to show off Brendan as a piano teacher, because what piano teacher doesn't like to show off their talented students, I'd never want people to be discouraged from trying this, because this is really for everybody with basic color and letter matching skills.
Absolutely. That's a very important point. The method, which is designed all-inclusively for everyone who really just has a desire to enjoy the music and enjoy learning process and enjoy feeling how they're climbing from the smaller step, another step, and observing their own progress and success. And speaking of success, I want to remind everyone that at the upcoming Gala recital at the Wild Recital at Carnegie Hall, we will be presenting several students from Lee Stockner's school and his occupational octaves method, who will be walking on Carnegie Hall stage and performing publicly in front of a large audience in there, and playing piano like a real normal concert, absolutely conventional. And so we're really, really, really proud of being able to present students who benefited from your teaching method and from your approach and from your incredible empathy on that prestigious stage. So we're coming close to the end of the program, but if you can briefly introduce those who will be participating, I would appreciate it.
Sure. Well, we do have 5 students that are going to participate. 2 of them you've gotten to see, well, actually 3 of them you've gotten to see as part of this interview. One of them is Shane, who you saw sight reading a Chopin Nocturne. He is going to be playing the Liszt Liebstrom Nocturne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
bravo.
We're very, very excited about that. Very, very excited. Jason will be performing Bach. He will be performing Well-Tempered Clavier. And
Well-Tempered Clavier.
Clavier?
My God, that takes a really high skill of just untangling the notes.
Yep, and because it's occupational octaves, there is pure clarity at every single point of exactly which finger belongs on which note and how long to hold it for after you press it. His sight reading on Well-Tempered was amazing. We're so excited for him to play that. And then Brendan will also be playing Chopin's Nocturne.
We have it on the screen right there, Lee. prelude,
Oh yes,
right?
oh
Is
yes,
that
yes,
correct?
the prelude. Yes, yes. He's playing the Chopin prelude, which is just an absolutely outstanding piece that ranges throughout the keyboard. It's normally played very fast, but he's going to be playing it a bit slower. And as it ranges throughout the keyboard, the last page is very, very high up on the right, and the last couple of chords are very, very low down on the left. And I am so excited to hear him hit that last chord at Carnegie. I absolutely can't wait.
What
And
a
I
joy.
think I think this is so cool for the students because I've never even performed on Carnegie. I'm going to be walking out there and I'm going to be in a conductor role or a company or a page turning role, however you may want to call it. But I've never even played there, and my students with those rings on the fingers are going to be performing on that stage on that piano, and just really couldn't be more proud. And I like to share a quick little personal note about this, and I shared this to try to inspire people. I was giving a presentation about my program, and in the presentation, I was saying we're trying to help students with regulation. We want to help them achieve the positive feelings about music. We're not looking to bring people to Carnegie Hall. And I would always say that as part of my presentations. Because
And now it's false.
Now it's false. Well, one of the audience members said, "Why are you selling yourself short? Why speak? Why even speak with that negativity?" And once that person said that to me, I networked a couple of calls, and then you and I became connected. And now I have 5 students who will be using occupational octaves to perform classical music at Carnegie Hall.
And we are so honored to be doing this because our whole program, our whole mission is about including artists of all walks of life, all nationalities, all outlooks, all orientations. It really doesn't matter because the music is here to connect and unite people, not to divide us into groups by this trait or that trait. And that's what music does absolutely best. Music is able to connect people on the deeply emotional level, which is all-encompassing humanity level, and that's where we are alike.
I completely agree. Music is certainly the universal language. It always has been. I think music and laughter came way, way, way before anybody spoke a word.
Yeah, music,
And
laughter, and crying.
music, laughter, and crying. Yes, yes, I should edit that. Music, laughter, and crying came before we were able to speak a single word. And I am incredibly, incredibly proud to be somebody that is able to potentially bring the patterns and the notes and the fingers and the beats and all of these tiny, tiny items that have been agreed upon by classical musicians for centuries into the next century with so many more people than were able to access that work beforehand.
Absolutely. And that brings so much more positive vibe and hope and joy to everyone involved and to everyone who is touched just by watching, by speaking with you. Maybe people are not even connected to the professional music as educators or students or in any capacity, but the story of people smiling and being happy and proud of themselves because they can make music, they can connect with it themselves, they can connect with others through that music. That's an absolute joy. And Lee, thank you so much for being who you are, for doing what you do, for enriching people around you, and we wish you absolute the best and can't wait to hear your students and see you and them on stage at the Carnegie Hall.
Likewise, Anna, thank you so much for being somebody that hosts folks like me so that we can get our message out there. And as a fellow president of a WPTA chapter, I'm really looking forward to seeing you and getting to meet in person at Carnegie in just a few months.
Absolutely, in a very short time. And with that, we'll say goodbye reluctantly to Lee, and thank you for being on our program. And now I want to thank everyone who is supporting our programs. First of all, big thanks goes to Virtual Concert Hall's incredible team of producers, directors, and engineers, designers, and graphic designers and production team. Thank you all very much for your help and support, for your incredible work behind the scenes. Everyone you see, the names on the screen, are professional musicians who add their magic behind the scenes on the technology side and the graphics and beautiful presentation side. And I want to also thank our partners. Thank you all for supporting us, for encouraging us to keep going, and for supporting our mission and adding your energy and your resources to ours to go forward with that. And with that, I'm going to just say that we are on every platform. Please don't miss us and get involved with us. Text us, message us, send us an email, send us something about yourself, about your projects. We and our community are always looking out to connect with people. I know you're out there and you're doing incredible things. So join us. And with that, I'm just going to introduce again our upcoming auditions for the Carnegie Hall and play the reel, which was created by one of our phenomenal hosts, Chris Au. And with that, I will say to everyone goodbye. See you tomorrow at noon.
Hey, check this out. I know you have always dreamed of performing in Carnegie Hall. So I think this 2023 to 2024 season at Sound Espressivo will be perfect for you. As a platform, we host live online auditions so you can share your music with the entire world. Then we send you to incredible in-person venues like Carnegie Hall so you can perform solo, as a duo, as an ensemble, and with orchestra. This year we have a total of 4 gala events at Carnegie Hall, as well as 4 different opportunities to perform with orchestras in the US, in the Czech Republic, and even in Egypt. We want to help you fulfill your musical dreams. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com to check out our season and to apply.